I have no idea who spoke after this game, okay? But we literally have a game tomorrow, so why not just go ahead and go over this game briefly and then take a look at the press conferences? We'll just put it all in one segment, okay? So people over at YouTube, okay, if you're watching this later and you're not on the live stream right now, please subscribe, okay? Because I realize that there's about 40% of people that aren't subscribed to this channel, but they come here all the time. So please subscribe. I rarely ask of that, but I'm probably going to start asking more often. So yeah, hit the subscription button. You guys in the chat as well. So this game, I was actually upset with myself that I didn't go live after it. Okay, it was really late. We already went live, pre-game. So I was like, I'm just gonna leave it alone. But this was a very impressive win. Now it wasn't my favorite win of the season or anything, but a lot of things came together. I thought that the lineups were fairly decent. There was one lineup in particular that I thought was out there for way too long. But just overall, I really liked it. So just getting the bad out the way, the lineup that I never want to see another day in my life ever again is Trey Jones, Steph Castle, who else? Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson at power forward, and Bassie at center. That was the ugliest brand of basketball that I've ever seen, because no one on the court could really score outside of the paint at all. It was just ugly basketball. I don't know why we had that lineup out there for it felt like 4 or 5 minutes. It was way too long. It was very ugly brand of basketball. But luckily, Mitch Johnson went ahead and said, you know what, we're gonna call a timeout, mix this up. He threw Wemby in after Wemby got a little bit of rest, and then the rest was history there. So I really hated that lineup. But it did look better as the game went along. Now, one thing that I brought up, okay, and I'm going to stick to my guns here. With that lineup, see, staying on the negatives here before we get into all the positives. With that lineup of having Trey Jones, Steph Castle, Devin's fine, and Keldon, I don't quite understand why you wouldn't just put Malachi Branham in there so Devin Vassell isn't your only shooting threat. I don't get that at all. I didn't necessarily think, especially with that lineup, that Keldon was giving you more than what you could have gotten from Malachi Branham in that situation, in that scenario. Keldon attempted to get to the paint, but I mean, he was pretty easy to read, especially with that lineup out there. You didn't have somebody like Wemby that can distract from or open things up for Keldon getting to the rim. It was just very ugly. I mean, it immediately ended with a jump ball. They were just able to contest anything that Keldon attempted to do. I did not get it. So in that regard, I thought that maybe just throwing in Malachi Branham, who is a good three-point shooter. I know we can say what we want about Malachi, but he is a good three-point shooter. I would have preferred him just be out there, just as a threat at least. Now, his defense isn't that great, but it's not like, we got a masterclass from Keldon. But then I know the argument would also be, well, do you really want Malachi at power forward? Heck no, of course I don't. And then that would mean that you would more than likely have to bring Steph Castle to power forward. So it was just ugly. But just overall, I would have rather seen, or actually just overall, just in general, I want to see more Malachi. I'm not one of those Malachi defenders. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, he's going to be a star one day or da-da-da. I don't feel that way, okay? He could very well be off the team after this season. The Spurs could very well trade him. But Malachi can shoot three-pointers. And it seems like at times when the Spurs start to struggle, which they didn't really this game. I mean, 37% from three. I mean, they did fine. But in games when they do struggle, they do not even attempt to put Malachi on the court. They don't even attempt to do it. It's just very strange. It seems like Mitch Johnson isn't the biggest fan of Malachi. I saw some people saying, why can't Blake Wesley get a few more minutes? Which I kind of understand it to an extent. When you have Trey Jones, CP3, and Steph Castle, more than likely you don't really have that much of a use for Blake Wesley other than his defense. But Malachi is one where I'm like, look, when our shooting is not going well, throw him in there, right? I know you might be hesitant to put Mamu at center ahead of Bassie in this last game, which I can understand that, right? I sympathize with that. But Malachi, I don't get it. I don't get him not getting any minutes at all. He should be out there at least at the threat at times. Anyways, that's my only gripe about this game, and it's more so my gripe for the season in general. But all the positives, man. The Spurs, they won convincingly. I mean, very, very convincingly. One thing I really liked about this game was it seemed like they learned their lesson, is that in games previous, that young, I know people don't like to hear this, but they are a young team. At times they would get full of themselves, right? Get ahead of themselves. I'll say that. Not full of themselves. I'll say they get ahead of themselves where, they get pumped. They have some really good dunks. They're feeling themselves, and then they let their foot off the gas pedal a little bit, right? And we end up losing the game. I mean, that happened in the Bulls game in particular. We should not have lost that game. But in this one, it felt like the Spurs were having a good time. They were doing their thing, but they did not let up at all. I was expecting the fourth quarter to at least be closer between the two, and it was not the case. The Spurs won so convincingly. They've been doing much better going into second half. Well, actually, the majority of the season, they've done better than they have last season of going into the second half and playing fairly well. They've been doing a good job of starting the game off, playing hard. But the fourth quarter, I was not expecting, especially how we spanked them in the third. I was not expecting us to spank them even worse in the fourth. It wasn't even close. Basically 40-13. Absolutely insane fourth quarter. They just dog walked them like they were nothing. The Spurs could get whatever they wanted on the court. And I'll say this too. Now, I haven't really I'm lying. I cried about it. I complained about it. Vic, all the threes that he attempts to take can sometimes get frustrating. Games like this, I think that this is his best brand of basketball, where he's an outside threat. He's, if it's not going, he find other means to score. This is what I like. I think that it's totally fine if Vic jacks up 14 three-pointers, but he has to be shooting well in those games. Sometimes he would just rely on it even if he's not shooting that well. And it's like, no, don't settle for it. Get to the paint, get to your spots, and try to make something happen. And there was no one on the Lakers realistically that could guard him. Like maybe Anthony Davis, but he even got shook up in this game. But there's no one that could guard Victor Wembanyama. Take advantage of it. Stab their heart. And that's what he did. He was absolutely incredible. So he was great. Only had one turnover, one personal foul. Everyone was great. Everyone was great. I mean, I don't even have to really emphasize it too much. Devin Vassell seemed like he came to his own a little bit. He went 5 for 9 from 3. That's what we like to see. Seems like that shooting stroke and that confidence is definitely, at least it was back for that game. So we'll see if it continues. Steph Castle, I saw someone in the chat earlier say that, he wasn't, or he was much aggressive than he normally is, or he's been recently. I don't really agree with that. I feel like Steph Castle has played merely the same. The big difference, from this game and other games is it's just going in. Like, I felt like he was just as aggressive. It's just sometimes him being young and, probably having to build a little bit more strength, even though he has a lot of strength for his age. He will lose the ball. He'll fumble, lose the ball. And it doesn't help when the refs don't give you any calls at all. But the only difference this time was, he was aggressive, but it was going in, and the Lakers had no paint presence whatsoever. And I like that Victor and the whole team as a whole took advantage of that. Don't have to talk about Collins. Didn't really play. It was garbage time. Mamu didn't play. Julian Champagnie, he was pretty rough. I'm not going to lie to you guys. He wasn't that great. Defensively, he wasn't that great. Offensively, obviously, he wasn't that great. And those are literally the two things we're relying on. He's a literal 3-and-D. So, personally, I don't think he had a good game. thought he had a pretty bad game, pretty poor game. Keldon was fine. I saw some people say that he locked down LeBron, which he did fine on LeBron. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say like he didn't. He did fine on LeBron, but I don't know if LeBron really attempted that many shots, honestly. Did he attempt a shot on Keldon? I know the 3 games previous, he only attempted like 2 shots while Keldon was guarding him. He hit both. But this game, I don't know. I actually don't recall. But overall, Keldon had a pretty solid game. He had a pretty solid game. So, no hate there. Nothing really negative to say. I thought that he didn't necessarily overextend himself. Like I said, the offense or the defense could really read him. When we had that really ugly lineup out there. But I can't sit there and blame Keldon for that. It's not Keldon's fault. That was just a bad lineup. Keldon's going to play the way he plays regardless. So it's up to the coaching staff to make sure that we got the right guys out there. But, 4 for 6. He did good. He did fine. Trey Jones was fine. No complaints there. And then, obviously, Branham and Wesley. And I already said my complaint that I want Branham to play more. So, yeah, just overall, this game was fun. It was good. It was exciting. We won convincingly. But yeah, I really enjoyed this game. Let's see. Told you, man, Lakers faced a more healthy Spurs team this time. We got the W, still missing players though. Yep. Really wanted to see Sohan versus James, but oh, you didn't finish it. Yeah, I would have liked to see that too, but it's okay. It's all right. All right, so let's go ahead and go to YouTube and see if we can take a look at some of these. You see Spurs. Let's see here. All right, who spoke after this game? When I say that I did not watch anything, I mean it. I was not lying to you guys. I have not seen anything. All right. So I don't have the background music on right now. Do you guys like that or don't like that? I kind of like it on, but for now, I'll keep it off. Had a couple people complaining about it, but I think they were newer people to the channel. All right, shoot, we got 3 here. So, and kind of the most important people we want to hear talk, right? Let's go ahead and listen to Mitch.
They made a ton of shots in the first half.
I like the background music. Well. All it took was one person. There you go.
Offensively, especially. I thought we kind of just were stubborn in our game plan. I thought we did a good job of just staying with it and kind of trusting that it wasn't feeling as good as maybe what we were doing because they were making so many shots. Excuse me.
Okay, I'm a little bored. We're going to speed this up a little bit.
And I think in the second half we got to play even more out of our defense and got to play with pace, and the ball was in both sides. We did a really good job of executing offensively, just that ball popping and trusting that the ball would find the open guy and that guy would make the right play. And sometimes there was an action and it was actually the second or third or even fourth person who received the ball out of that initial action. They got to reap the benefits. But our screening and our angles and our spacing were really well.
You guys had two days of practices. How much did that help, get, wrinkle out some of that, get out some of the wrinkles that you guys had during the losing streak?
We haven't had much practice time, so it was really...
That's one thing that I don't want to say concerning, but like kind of weird about just the NBA schedule. There's so many games that they don't even really practice that much. Kind of speaks to how incredible that 2014 Spurs team was. You would have thought it was 10-hour practices a day.
We beneficial to have some time just to clean some stuff up. You know, when you have so many game after game after game, you kind of a lot of times have to move on, unfortunately, more than you want to. I think it was really helpful. I'd give the guys credit. I think we had a couple very, very productive days in here, practice-wise, and we saw some carryover tonight, so they get credit for that.
What did you see from Steph stepping back into the starting lineup again? And a good reminder of what he can do offensively.
I thought he was extremely active. I thought he did a really good job playing on and off the ball in transition. Thought defensively he really competed without fouling and showing his hands. And when you play that hard in the right way, the basketball will find you and you'll have opportunities to make plays, and it was good to see him do that tonight.
Robotic level execution in 2014. Yeah, it didn't seem real. It's like the Harlem Globetrotters.
You guys weathered that start like you predicted, kind of an emotional start. You guys weathered it. What did you see from the guys just, like you said, staying in there?
Yeah, they made a couple shots early. I think Steph missed a wide open layup. I think something else happened, like a funky possession. You can't overreact always to the results of the plays or even stretches. We've talked about this year. We've lost some games. We've played good basketball.
Wait. I think sometimes we should. If you're not overreacting right now, and this is you being chill, I think that we should overreact sometimes during these stretches. But maybe he's saying multiple games. He's probably talking about multiple games. I'm sorry. Because the only complaint I've had thus far is, okay, so Mitch Johnson is in a really weird spot right now, right? I don't think that the Spurs have decided that he's the future head coach or anything like that. I think there is somewhat hope that Popovich will come back. I mean, everything is kind of pointing towards that. And out of respect for Pop, they're not going to sit there and just like make an announcement like, yeah, Pop is out. Like, they're not going to do it. They would have a conversation with him first and move him in a different position or whatnot. So like, obviously, that's a really tough position to be in. And I think that a lot of the lineups that he puts out there, he relies too much on the vets, relies too much on guys that were already established in Pop's rotation or were becoming established in Pop's rotation. So I think he's been doing a lot of that, even though he has steered away from playing Blake Wesley and Malachi Branham at all. But he's become very comfortable with the specific group of guys out there. But one thing that I don't like is sometimes when the Spurs desperately need a timeout, we just let it go, man. And it just gets worse and worse and worse. And it's just like, we need a timeout. Sometimes it's like, not only do we need a timeout, we need a timeout and to get these players off the court because they're making too many mistakes. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Or even stretches. We've talked about this year. We've lost some games we played good basketball in. And that's kind of how that first half felt. We were playing better basketball than the score said. And sometimes you have to trust the process.
Still 73 points and a half. I mean, teams go a whole season without hitting that. Where'd that come from? How do you explain that?
We got 30 assists, 3 different guys over 20 points. Got some points off of turnover.
We missed Sohan's rebounding yesterday. AD was killing us on the offensive glass. We need another backup big. Yeah, we desperately need another backup big. I don't know if that'll happen right now. Let's see. Yeah, 8 offensive rebounds from Anthony. He literally was the only one rebounding. Kind of. On his team. Yeah. They had 15 offensive rebounds and he had 8 of them. He had more than half of them.
Overs. Then we got to the free throw line. I think it was kind of a mixed bag at times of how we were getting there. We had some really big plays by Charles Bassey tonight as a screener. It was a collective group. We've had some games where Victor's had a monster game. Even Chris, late game, Keldon and Devin. But tonight, I think, was probably our best game as a collective group, especially offensively. And we saw some of that when we paired the defense with that.
He's not lying.
2 games coming in Paris very soon. What do you expect from this trip with your group in these games?
Another great opportunity with the unique circumstances. We've had a few this year. I'm sure the guys will be excited. I'm sure there'll be good energy over there. And we'll be excited and ready to go.
Anything you were looking forward to see in Paris?
Yeah, I've never been, so all of it.
Thank you.
What? I'm confused. What? So are you looking forward to seeing? Can you guys explain what's going on? The Spurs play in France or something? I've been to France, not Paris though.
It was a tough time.
My family's well. I think part of it is because I'm here. You know, just the way God works sometimes. And to tell you the truth, my extended family, I got a lot of family here in LA. You know, I've been here for 13 years now, calling this place home. So it's been a tough, week or so with everyone, my family, my extended family, and just the people of LA.
I hate how he's wearing his skull cap or beanie. I really hate it. You hate to see it. Versus Pacers, I think. Later in the month, back-to-back versus Indy. In Paris? We played 2 games in Paris against the... Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah, this is new, right? The Spurs haven't done this. Yeah, didn't they announce that last offseason that the Spurs were expanding out and playing in France? We didn't do that last season, right? How did you not know this, Clan? I don't know. I forgot. No? Yes, never before. Okay. Yeah, I remember the Spurs talking about expanding out. Or actually, was it Adam Silver that brought it up? Yeah, it's like when they played in Mexico to expand. Yeah.
The way the guys, it's an emotionally charged atmosphere, but you guys weathered a kind of a tough start and hung in there. And as Mitch said, you were stubborn with the game plan.
Yeah, it's been tough even for the guys, just being here. Not knowing if you're going to play, not knowing really what's going on, but I think...
Apparently, NBA fans from other franchises value KJ. Saw Grizzly fans on Twitter hyping him up. Idea of trading for KJ. If other teams value him, I say let him go. Yeah, other fans are definitely going to be optimistic towards Keldon. Like, you got to think about it. Like, I know people like to say that because Wemby's on the team that everyone's paying attention to every Spurs player. Like, no, they're not. Last season, everybody was just saying that Spurs fans too, but weren't Spurs fans, just said there's Wemby and trash. Like, that's it. Like, they weren't saying anybody on the team had any value, anybody's that great. So people don't really look out for the Spurs like that. But if you're just a casual and you're just following your own team or whatnot, when you think about Keldon, you're going to think about, oh, yeah, Olympic team. Oh, yeah, Draymond really hyped him up and said that he was great for them. And, yeah, oh, he's the guy that when we go against him, he's, like, super hype and plays with all that energy. Like, that's what you're going to think of. So I'm not surprised that other fans would want him.
Us, along with the Lakers, probably were just excited to get a chance to hoop and play some sense of normalcy. But it's a really good win for our young team.
Julian, Devin, and Trey all talked about trying to support you emotionally. What did you feel from your teammates?
Man, them guys been amazing. Everybody with our team. It's a crazy situation. And, through my family and my foundation, just trying to help. At the hotel, we've been seeing the firefighters coming in and out, rotating shifts, just seeing those true heroes. And I'm sure, as y'all know, we all getting ready for the wins to pick up again or whatnot. So even the practices we didn't have, it's just been cool to get my mind off of it a little bit, and play.
Chris, JJ described you guys' relationship as the inner circle of brothers. And you had a moment with his son who gave them the jerseys after the game. Can you just describe what your relationship is like with JJ and what that moment was like and the meaningfulness of it for you?
I think JJ's a bad coach. I said it. I don't think he's a good coach. I don't really want to hear about this.
Is Knox and Kai and stuff like that. It's just.
Actually, I wanted to ask you about Steph Castle. Today, didn't settle at all. Did a good job driving to the basket. Coming into his draft, a lot of people talked about defense, but offensively, he's been able to showcase a lot and being able to play physical as a rookie. Seeing what he's been able to showcase. What have you seen from him?
Steph is special, very, very special, and I'm grateful to just be a part of his journey. Because I think a lot of times people say, what can I do for him? But he does so much for me, right? I was never that athletic or that strong, so a lot of times I'm telling him to do stuff I know I can't do. You know what I mean? Seriously, and I'm always just trying to encourage him and motivate him, man, because we had a really good practice 2 days ago. And so he's so good at getting in the lane. Tonight, I was just so happy at how he just saw the court. You know, that's the thing when you get to the league. You know, you get in there and now you got 7-footers and they blocking shots. But he really had a chance to be special, and he loves it. You know, he loves the hoop. He loves to play both sides of the ball, and I appreciate that.
That is true. He's in love with the game. Think about it. I don't know if there's one Spurs, and I know that's crazy to say, like, they're NBA players, but I don't think there's one Spurs player that isn't in love with basketball. Because some people come into the league and they're very talented and, you know, they like what basketball can do for them, but, like, they're not in love with it. You know what I mean? I don't think there's a player we have on the court that isn't in love with basketball. Could have been worse for JJ. Pretty sure the only previous time he coached was for the YMCA team. JJ's a bad coach. I don't care. JJ's a good coach. LA has a bad roster. I think JJ's a bad coach.
Okay, Chris. Wemby is in a very good position for the All-Star game.
To be fair, he's coaching LeBron. That might stop JJ from coaching how he wants. I'm sure AD follows. I think JJ's a bad coach.
The fan voice close to guys like LeBron. So what does it say of him as a player that he's such a good position?
Is JJ first year?
All-Star game.
I think JJ's okay. I'm gonna stop.
He deserves it, man. He plays the game the right way. As humble of a star as you'd ever come across. Gonna be Defensive Player of the Year. He got an opportunity to do it for 20 years straight. You know what I mean? Seriously, he just unbelievable player. But I say this every time I talk about him. I wish everybody got to know him on a personal basis. And if you knew him like that, you'd be a bigger fan of his.
Why do I think he's a bad coach? I think he has some really good. I think he got some talent on his team. But too often, man, they just seem lackluster. Like, the energy isn't necessarily there. Like, the way the Spurs were able to just steamroll them with little to no adjustments on the coaching end. I don't know. But, you know, then again, that's just my bias. I'm not the biggest fan of JJ Redick anyways, so.
What's one thing that you've learned about him since being his teammate that people wouldn't know about Wemby?
That he knows too much American history. Seriously, we do this little thing before every game where it's like trivia. And today I think the trivia was highest grossing U.S. actors and actresses in 2024. You know what I
mean? Timothy Chalamet? Wait, I have to think about this. Who do you guys think of it? Who it is? Who do you think is the highest grossing actor in 2024? We're gonna look this up. I just feel like Timothy Chalamet has been on a run. I don't know.
I mean, he got half of them. You know what I mean? He's supposed to be French, so I think he's just very, very intelligent, and you just have to appreciate all the random things that he knows.
Chris,
we had a conversation on the show today about the impressiveness of Victor in year 2. And
The Rock, just kidding. Oh my God, The Rock. I'm really hoping that new Rock movie, the A24 film, where he's going to be like a boxer, is really good. I think it's directed by the Safdie brothers, or a Safdie brother, and they absolutely love making actors that aren't known for being great actors into roles in which they're forced to be great actors. Like, they did it with Robert Pattinson, and that's where everybody was like, wow, you can actually act. They did it with Adam Sandler, so it'll be nice if they can do that with The Rock, because I am tired of seeing The Rock. You know, that's all you see. Like, oh yeah, his name will change. Oh, he's John in this movie. No, he's not. He's just The Rock. He's just playing The Rock.
LeBron in year 22, and to even be able to say that sentence in that sort of company is a little bit mind-blowing. I'm not sure we're ever going to be able to have that sort of conversation again. You uniquely being able to see Victor as your teammate and having played against LeBron this many years, when you see them on the floor together and you're sharing a floor with them, do you ever sort of take a second to think about all of that?
Not even a little bit. I'm on my own journey and trying to get Vic and our teammates, ready to win a game. You know what I mean? So I think that's just how I'm wired. When I come into the game, is what we gotta do to be better today to win. Yeah.
Chris, Mitch had a lot of moving parts in the jungle. How do you think he handled this 5 or 6 days?
As well as you could. Communicating with us. With the uncertainty,
Okay. What? Adam Sandler? In 2024? Because of Happy Gilmore, the water, he's still getting money from those? That's good. I'm happy. I'm happy that that's... What? Margot Robbie's 2. I, Tonya is a great film, by the way. I have I, Tonya on my movie list of top movies. Follow me on Letterboxd, by the way. It's Clan the Film Fan on Letterboxd. Birds of Prey. I wasn't that crazy about the movie. Barbie. I don't really like this movie, but I do like that it exists. Like, I like what it represents and everything, but in the messaging. But I didn't really like the movie itself. It wasn't my thing. Tom Cruise. Ryan Gosling. Dude, these are like the easiest names that I could have guessed, but I just didn't think in 2024 they were high. Okay. Bro's getting money, not doing anything new. I'm happy he's making $73 million just from Uncut Gems alone. Okay, watch Uncut Gems. I do love The Waterboy. I still got to see Punch Drunk Love. I know. Yell at me, but I have to see it.
Not sure how hard to practice, how easy to practice.
There's no way. Dude, I don't know, man.
Was
Netflix money, yeah.
I mean, as good as it could have been with the uncertainty. So our team does a great job. Everybody from B. Wright to Mitch to everybody within our organization do a great job of communicating with us.
You hear that?
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
You guys heard that?
It was as good as it could have been with the uncertainty. So our team does a great job. Everybody from B. Wright to Mitch to everybody within our organization do a great job of communicating with us.
Yep. Brian Wright. Good GM. Actually, here's a different list. So, okay, this is just 2024. Okay. So, who grossed the most amount of money in 2024 from new projects, I guess. I don't know. All right, so this might be a better list. Let's see. Eddie Murphy at 15. Jason Momoa at 19. From what? What did Jason Momoa do? Because Aquaman 2? Aquaman sucks. Joaquin Phoenix. 20 mil. Okay. Vin Diesel? For those keeping track, there are now more than 10 installments of the Fast and Furious franchise. Good God. Chris Hemsworth. Okay, none of these names are actually like making me angry. Let's see. Will Smith. Family. Yeah, family. Will Smith made $35 million for his work on Apple TV's Emancipate. Was that even... It came out in 2022. Was it even good? It looked bad. It looked like it was going to be really bad. Oh, and the Serena Williams movie or whatever. Okay. This is a big list of mid. All right, we got Leonardo DiCaprio at 8. Oh, wait. No, I think it was accurate. Wait, Dwayne The Rock Johnson's at 3. Margot Robbie, and then Adam Sandler. This is crazy. I have a lot of, like I said, I got a lot of respect for Adam Sandler after Uncut Gems. Okay, that's a masterful film. So he did a crazy great job. So I have a lot of respect for him. If it weren't for that film, I'll be a little irritated. Same boring old names. Yeah, that's what bothers me, man. It's the same names. Thought we'd get something a little different. You know?
Stressful time, you know. I don't
Need
know
more young blood. Yeah. You don't really have like the Hollywood star anymore. Like you have a few, you know, Zendaya, I guess Tom Holland, Timothy Chalamet, but I don't know. The Tom Cruise, the names where you see the name and that will sell the movie in and of itself. We don't have that much. We don't have much of that anymore. Facts. Uncut Gems was 93. 93. You gave it a 93, or you meant on Rotten Tomatoes? That movie's great. Oh yeah, Jenna Ortega. Yeah, that's another up and coming. Yeah.
The other NBA teams feel outside of LA, of course.
But I don't think any of these actors that I named sell the movie from their name alone. Like, I don't think that happens anymore. Not really. Tom Cruise is like the last one.
You can feel a lot of people are directly impacted by it, like a whole bunch of people. So it's
She's out on Scream now, though. Scream now.
It's sad, but we had to stay ready. And
Pratt?
we were
Chris
today,
Pratt?
so we
Let's be honest. The last few films with Chris Pratt in it. You think Chris Pratt could sell a movie by his name alone? I don't think so. I don't think the Mario movie would have made more because Chris Pratt was doing the voice. But maybe that's my ignorance. No Cage. Nicolas Cage just do whatever, dude.
ready for anything. He might make the schedule.
Denzel? Nah, Denzel doesn't sell movies from his name alone anymore. Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal is actually my favorite actor in Hollywood. But no, he doesn't just sell movies from his name alone. I don't think that's true. Mel Gibson? No. People hate Mel Gibson. I hate Mel Gibson. A lot of people hate Mel Gibson. That dude's horrible. But no, he doesn't sell movies by himself.
You're on, but it's we'll be ready.
70+ points in the second half. What was working for you?
Brad
guys?
Pitt,
You
come
talked
on.
about You guys being stubborn with the game plan.
I love Brad Pitt, but no.
Totally.
I love him as an actor, that is.
Today was I think it was a very ethical game on our part. My teammates just respected the game. And
You guys are naming like actors, but none of these actors sell a movie from their name alone. Like, no one's gonna give just one of these actors like $60 million, or like they're not gonna create a film that's like piss poor or whatever, and because you have a really good actor, they're gonna put 60 mil on it. Like, they're not gonna make any mid-budget films because they don't sell as well as they used to. Like, you used to be able to just do whatever, like with like if the name was enough. Samuel L. Jackson was in a movie called Too Much Snakes on This Plane. Like, come on. It was snakes on a plane. That movie was stupid. But like, actually, I'm gonna look up how much that movie cost to make.
Did a lot of things that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, and everyone had their opportunity to shine and to make the next teammate better. So it was a very healthy game, I think.
See?
Victor,
See, this is what I mean. You don't get this anymore. 33 million, 36 million. Most movies, most films now that are in theaters is huge budgets, like 100-something million, because they're expecting to make a quadrillion, babillion dollars. Or it's like 5 to 10 million, and it's usually a horror film because they know that they'll make their money back in the first weekend. But this right here, Snakes on a Plane, I guarantee you Samuel L. Jackson got a big chunk of that. They're not taking risks like that anymore because people don't just go see movies based on names anymore. Not really. Keanu Reeves. Actually, Keanu Reeves might be one. Maybe Keanu Reeves. Yeah, Keanu Reeves and Tom Cruise might be the last two, actually. You bring up a really good point. Yeah, Keanu Reeves does sell from his name alone. He also has a pretty good track record of picking pretty decent films, so you're not going to get see some BS. But good God, I mean, like I said, they have to dish out quite a bit of money. I'm gonna look up how much John Wick was.
just talking to Chris Paul after the game, you and him went up and gifted your game-worn jerseys to JJ's kids. JJ's kids are huge basketball fans. They lost their collection of memorabilia in the fire. Was that something you all talked about before? How did that come together?
Mid-budget film. But estimated 20 to 30. 20 isn't mid-budget. 20 is a low budget. I feel like when you get to around 30, that's a mid-budget film. 30 to 40 mid-budget. But the first one did so well till they said, oh, we'll give you a little bit more. Okay, this is really doing well. We'll give you a lot more. Okay, go all out. The fourth installment is the best one too, by the way. But yeah, they're not gonna dish out 30 million to 40 million that often. Tom Hanks, nah. Tom Hanks doesn't sell movies from his name alone anymore. He got quite a few flops.
Why did you decide what you wanted to do?
I heard I heard of that, and yeah, Chris.
Eddie
asked me
Murphy,
earlier if
come on.
It was okay for me to do that. I didn't know they were huge fans like this, but JJ is a person I like, and that was.
Okay, we got to get through this interview, but I do agree with July. Yeah, I look for the directors more than the actors now. I agree with you.
Greatly impacted by this, so I just if I can make those kids' day, I'll do it.
Quentin Tarantino. Yeah, heck yeah. My favorite director.
So
I genuinely don't think Leonardo DiCaprio sells a movie from his name alone anymore. Leonardo for sure. I don't know. But once again, Leonardo DiCaprio is one of those things, like, he's one of those actors where he doesn't just act in some BS, right? So his movies typically do pretty well because, I mean, they're just critically acclaimed.
it is something that they that's not really taught, early on. That as NBA players, as role models, sometimes athletes, we can have a huge impact because the impact can be negative just as it can be positive. So it is a real responsibility, not a pressure, but definitely a responsibility. But I think the best way to inspire and inspire people in a good way and use that impact in a good way is to act healthy and to be a healthy and genuine person.
Still relatively early on in your career, how much of this team win is it like encouraging for you, and how do you kind of compartmentalize what's going on, in the LA community with, getting on the court and executing the game plan and coming out with a win?
I don't really get
Those
the
are my
question.
words. I don't know.
Essentially, what I'm asking you is, like, how do you compartmentalize the basketball?
That's the word I don't know.
Oh, okay. How do you separate basketball from being on the court and having to still execute the game plan and coming out with a team win?
Okay. So it's definitely a hard balance, to keep, and but I think that anchor that you can always see is
What movie did Eva Longoria put $6 million on?
The team effort and the game plan. So even if even on days when you're in special circumstances or when you're not feeling like it, trying to respect the game plan and do the efforts for your teammates, for your coach, it's always a good a good way, and that doesn't always show up on the stat sheet, but it's a sacrifice that we need to be able to make to win.
Hey Victor, I want to ask you one about your pregame routine. Tim Martin always used to tell me before about how hard you work, but seeing you pregame and how physical your pregame routine, and then going there and bringing that to the game. I think you had a shield on Bron, and then you shot off of one leg in the corner, little corner fade in the mid range. Talk about that, but also playing through physicality and how you've been focusing on that a lot through your pregame routine, all the way down to.
You did not put up money for John Wick. I don't know why she would have had to. I'm just wondering what movie we're talking about.
And game situation stuff too.
So the pregame routine is a lot of injury prevention, and recently this year I've added more focus on being able to take a position or be strong in a dribbling.
No, I see someone in chat says, should we trade the Atlanta pick? No, I wouldn't give anybody the Atlanta pick. The Bulls pick. Man, that's a tough one. You probably would have to. If there's a first round pick that you have to give up in 2025, it's the Bulls one, because it might not convey. That one's iffy.
Drive, like on that play, as you said. So it's I guess we could say it's my routine is purposeful, and I don't hesitate to change it depending on what I'm trying to work to get better out on the court.
Couple in front right here. Victor, bonsoir.
Salut.
Tu es très bien placé dans les votes des fans.
Okay, we'll kind of end it there. That was cool. So the Spurs have the Memphis Grizzlies. That should be a good one. Should be a fun one. We're going to be fighting for our lives. Okay, pray for us. So it's going to be a tough one. It's definitely going to be a tough one. But luckily for us that we already brought this up, the last 10 games, the Spurs are third in the NBA in defensive rating, while those Memphis Grizzlies are all the way 24th. So they've been one of the worst in the league over the course of the last 10 games. But I don't know the specifics. It could have very well been they had a couple players out, here or there. I haven't kept up with the Grizzlies like that, just being transparent with you guys. But I have kept up with the Spurs, and last 10 games, yes, roster has changed here and there, but they have been good defensively. So hopefully we can keep it a low-scoring game, and we can come out of it with a win. So we'll see what happens there. Let's end this in this segment.